Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of CX and Coffee, this show where my good friend
Marty Shaughnessy.
and I get together every single week. We try a new coffee. We talk about something related to customer experience, and we give you all of the information you didn't need to know about our past weekend's shenanigans. And we are so glad to have you here with us. Marty, good to see your face.
Good to see your face, buddy.
I will be honest early on in this episode.
Okay.
I am very unsure about what's going to happen with the coffee situation this week.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Is this the in hotel room coffee?
It's not the in hotel room coffee,
Okay.
but it is close to it.
Okay.
I'm gonna be doing some travel where making coffee won't necessarily be quick and easy.
Okay.
Fortunately, I did get some fun tools. I have this. This is a travel kettle that I've boiled some water for us. I even got a travel coffee press.
Nice.
But today we're going to be looking at something that was gifted to me, and that is Trader Joe's instant coffee. And apparently, this has coffee, sugar, and cream all in one,
Wow.
which
That sounds pretty industrial.
it is going to be something. I think we're in store for something. But before we get to that, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. It was busy. We're just coming off of Thanksgiving there, and then we on that Friday after our tradition with the four of us is to go and get our tree. There's a nice little like family run farm about 2 miles from here. They have you cut down your own, but we always go over to like the pre-cut, and it's always perfect. We got the house all decorated, and it's just a nice transition for us into the holiday season. I guess Thanksgiving right into Christmas, and it's the living room looks amazing. So
Oh, I love it. When we lived in Pennsylvania, we would do the tree farm thing, and just one year did the cut it down ourselves, and it was fun. It was really cool memories that it
yeah,
actually snowed. It was all around awesome. Since moving to the South, we have not done the real tree thing because I have just heard horror stories of bug infestations that even though they
um,
do the shake it out, that it just isn't good. So I'm
that makes
very I missed that a little bit. I did enjoy
sense.
the tree farm experience, and maybe one of these years I'll get past it. But I'm a little bit scared of what I'm going to bring into my house doing that down here in the South.
Yeah, we picked a tall one this year, so we had a little Clark Griswold experience where we were putting it up, and it was about a half inch from the and we have high ceilings, and it was about a half inch, and so we ended up bending and putting the star on the top there, but it kind of bends over a bit. But we thought it wasn't going to fit.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I remember when I was growing up, we always had a fake tree, and they were for a number of years, and they probably still do, selling the spray that you can spray in your house so that it smells like the tree is real.
Mm.
That to me, I think is one of the things I miss the most about the real tree is the smell. I'm actually curious. I definitely want to see people in the comments if you are team real tree or fake tree because I feel like this is almost like the Sheets Wawa for those of you that are on the East Coast, which by the way, I don't know if anybody follows the stats, but looks like Wawa currently is in the lead based off of the latest research on I think it might be revenue numbers, but
Really?
just
Okay.
yeah. I think about you on Thanksgiving weekend, Marty. I think about you a lot, but I particularly
Really?
think about you on Thanksgiving weekend because it's a big movie weekend, and I know one of the things you do for your birthday every year is go to see a movie, and Thanksgiving historically is when a bunch of new movies come out, and it sounds like this was a big weekend, but with how expensive tickets keep getting, doesn't surprise me they keep breaking records. It's not that more people are going; they're just paying more money.
Right.
But I'm curious, have you been keeping track of some of the movies that are out this holiday season? Is there anyone that you're maybe wanting to get into theaters to see?
You know what? There really isn't. I mean, it's funny because as you were leading up to this, I was like, is there anything that I've been following or really want to see? I don't think so. I just watched Star Wars. They have it's called Skeleton Crew. It's kind of like a Goonies meets Star Wars, and the first two episodes are really really good. I'm very excited about that.
Okay.
It's all the '80s nostalgia and just kind of reminds me of seeing Goonies for the first time. E.T. like that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What about you? Did you guys go out to see any movies?
We didn't. We will be with the kids in the house.
That's an investment too,
Particularly,
because you've got Justin has like 12 kids. I don't know if anybody.
I've invested in AMC. I'm a stockholder. We are going to see Moana 2. We can't
Okay.
escape that. We're going to see that. And one of the traditions I have with my kids is I take each of them Christmas shopping for their siblings.
Nice.
And my 10-year-old is somehow parlayed it into an entire day. He wants to do some of his Christmas shopping at Buc-ee's. Now, mind you, the closest Buc-ee's is 2 hours from our house. I don't know that we're going to Buc-ee's for the Christmas shopping, but in his mind, we're going to Buc-ee's, and then him and I are going to see a movie. We'll see what actually happens. We'll update everybody in a couple of weeks, I'm sure, on whether or not that excursion plays out. But I do know we've got at least Moana 2 on deck for the movies.
Nice. I've never been to a Buc-ee's. Now I'm aware. I mean, in my head, it's like a big travel plaza kind of thing that people love, but I've actually never been to one.
It's interesting. I've had several Buc-ee's experiences in my life. My first being in Texas, which I feel was the most appropriate since that is the birthplace of Buc-ee's.
Okay.
And it was awesome. Wasn't busy, but very clean, well stocked, sight to be seen for sure. For me, the closest one is in South Carolina, actually almost across the highway from south of the border on 95, and it is still a novel thing. When we went to Disney earlier this year, we stopped at Buc-ee's, and there was I kid you not, Marty, like a drill sergeant employee in the bathroom who's like, "Stall open, you go, you go, you go, you out." I mean, it is a thing of beauty, but also a little bit scary, and there were just a lot of overwhelming amount of people at the Buc-ee's in South Carolina.
Okay.
Is what I'll say.
Interesting.
I'm gonna get you to a Buc-ee's, Marty.
All right, let's do it.
We will make it. We will do a special edition. They have coffee. I was gonna say, assuming they have coffee. Of course they have coffee. We will have to do a CX and coffee live from Buc-ee's at some point, so y'all get to look forward to that one.
Yeah, no, that sounds fun.
Good. I'm wanting to do everything I can, Marty, to postpone trying this week's coffee, but I feel like we've reached that point in the show where we jump in.
It sounds magic. I mean, it's got everything together, right?
It's got
Sugar,
everything.
cream, pulverized coffee. Sounds
is.
good. Oh, the plastic sounds good.
See, here's my first complaint. So this week, I'm enjoying Trader Joe's instant coffee packet. The only writing we've got on this one is that it's not for individual sales. So there goes my side hustle of trying to sell the individual packets. Here's my first complaint. If I'm going to open this, I'm a side tearer. I want to tear it from the side because I want I want the whole thing.
Yeah.
My only option is to tear it from the top, and now
Really?
I don't know if you can see there's what I'll best describe as dust emerging from this thing. I don't even want to give it a sniff test. I'm afraid of what's gonna
No way, you got to do it. It's part of it.
try to open this a little bit more for us. Okay.
It's probably not that bad, right?
It's actually not. It smells like cocoa,
Okay.
and you can see there's a lot of the cream and sugar powder in here. The ratio, my bet right now is the ratio is probably 80% cream and sugar to coffee, but we'll see. I didn't really look at any instructions, so I boiled this water in my handy dandy travel kettle, but we're just gonna give it a
Yeah, put it in.
see.
There
You
you
see what I'm
go.
talking about?
Yeah,
that
good
was
color there.
very light, and you can probably still see all of the.
Looks Looks like it's cold in your office.
It is cold. Dude, we didn't even talk about that. It's 20, 25 degrees here this morning.
Really?
Yeah, I looked up and it was the same temperature here as it was in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So there's that. Okay, this is, I am not wrong about this ratio. If you look inside of that cup, you see, right, you see mostly white
Yep.
in that. It is, there's a little bit of coffee, but there's definitely a lot of other stuff in here. Now I'm going to try to not give myself a burn at all.
Here we
This
go.
is actually, this is amazing, this travel kettle. I've put together a kit now for my backpack when
okay. Nice.
I have my coffee in there. I grind it right before I go. I've got this kettle and a really cool travel press. So yeah, it's a good time. All right, here we go. I should have tried some of the powder before I did this too. I've got an extra packet here. Maybe I'll do that.
And you're just pouring. No measuring. Just
I'm
he's just eyeballing
I'm
it.
just eyeballing it. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds real good.
I'm actually excited that there's the powdered creamer and sugar in here. I don't know. I told you I'd do it black. I don't know that I would want to do this one. I love Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, hear me out. I love you. If y'all want to underwrite CX and coffee, we will happily accept that check. I just don't know how I'm going to feel about it. All right. So on the profile, it smells like instant coffee. It's
Can you smell the sweetness, like too?
no. There's
Okay.
That's actually surprising me. I'm glad you brought that up. I get not the sugary, but the cream. You get kind of like warm milk.
Yep.
Is probably more what I smell more. It's like a combination of warm milk and instant coffee. I think I got the color pretty good though. I mean, that seems like if I were to put stuff in my coffee, yeah, I'd do it about that color. I
Yeah.
have no idea. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. All right, here we go.
Sorry, the face was more the hot water. I wasn't. You know,
He looks like he might be a fan.
here's the thing. There's a time and place for this. I love hiking, and I've had lots of instant coffee. Mm-hmm. This is totally passable. This is
Well
not.
done.
This is actually really well done.
Well done, Trader Joe's. Justin's
Yeah,
gonna get
again-
a bandolier of instant coffee, so he can like go hiking.
It's look, the cream, and it's not overly sweet either. So I really appreciate that, because I don't think I could do this if this was when I was a kid. I thought it was a big deal. There was the what was it, the tin can of like French vanilla latte, and you scooped it up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's not too sweet.
Good. That's what I was figuring. It might just be like just so sweet.
No, it's not at all.
All right.
And it's not okay. Yeah, so really easy. Came in a box with, I don't know how many packets were in there. I'm gonna say at least a dozen, probably 18. I've had like the Starbucks Via and stuff like that, and no, that's a winner. Okay. So, all right, if you're in a pinch, or if you're camping or hiking, or maybe you just like instant coffee, Trader Joe's instant coffee, all in one, but not for individual resale. So don't do any of that. I'm actually going to enjoy this
Wonderful.
during the rest of our conversation today, Marty. I do have to give you an update, though, on last week's coffee. Last week, we had the bourbon barrel aged coffee.
Yes.
And my wife smelled it before making it. So the next morning, she was the one making the coffee and she was grinding it. She goes, I don't know how I feel about this. As she was smelling it, she had her first taste. She's like, "What do you think of this?" That was the
Yeah,
tone. It was like,
that's not a good sign.
you don't like it. It tastes like it smells.
Yeah.
So she was not a fan. Um, I stick by what I said. I don't think I could do a bunch of cups of it. I think in moderation, it was a good coffee.
Yeah.
But I did want to share an update because my wife does try all of these coffees as well, and that was the first one that she was clearly not a fan of.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, right? It's not for everybody.
It is what you make it, Marty. It is what you make it.
And also what it is. Yeah, no, I mean I thought your analysis was fair and that you were going to give it another shot, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you can't love everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I will say I'm drinking this one faster than I normally do, and I think it's because it has all of the other stuff in it. So just in case, I did bring an extra packet along, and I think I've got enough water too. So this
So
may
you,
even
you
be a
might double up.
two-cupper.
You might double up.
I might double up. That'd be a first on CX and coffee.
All right. Well, while you're sipping away, I've got a question. So I had a call, I guess it was last week. I think it was right in the beginning of the week. And it was I was waiting, and then it finally was clicking over, and it said, this call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. It's that kind of standard thing. So my question to you is, Justin, does anybody do anything with that? Does that go into like, first of all, it sounds like it might be recorded, it might not be. You know what I mean? So is it kind of like sometimes it is it random? And also, do real people go and like listen to that on the other end?
Yeah, this is
The people want to know.
the people want to know. Sounds like you want to know, Marty. Maybe
do.
there was something discussed and you're trying to go back and figure out, can I erase the evidence of this? Or I've done this. I spoke to, it was Marty Shaughnessy, and it was on December 15th at 9:22 a.m. Go back and find the recording because I swear he told me this. I've done that.
If I sense a call going south, let's say, I do start taking notes just so I have a record of who I'm talking to, when I called, just in case I have to. I've never had to pull it up, but it's one of those things that like, okay, well this isn't going to be as smooth as I thought. So let me go in, okay. And your name is Justin. Okay, Justin. All right, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Interesting question, Marty. Quality assurance, I think, is one of those parts of not just the contact center, but broader customer service and customer experience. I mean, there's always been secret shoppers. There's surveys, all these ways to measure the quality processes, all of the stuff as part of the service that we deliver. Mm-hmm. Quality assurance is probably one of the best examples of old ways of doing things that are not often revisited and just continue to persist. Great example is even the prompt of what you heard. This call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. That goes back, I think, to a point in time where it was really expensive and really complicated for organizations to capture and store all of their recordings. And now that's way easier to do. It's infinitely less complicated for organizations, not just to capture and store all of their customer interactions, whether they're calls, chats, or otherwise. So is it recorded? Your first question is, yeah, in most cases they are. In most cases, all interactions these days, or at least increasingly so for a lot of organizations, are recorded. I think the better question is, does anybody do anything with it? And if they do, what do they actually do? And I'm going to say two places we'll start on this question today, and then we'll see where it takes us.
Okay.
The first is the historical approach, and for a lot of organizations, still the approach today is something that's known and thought about as random sampling. And for people watching this that are in the contact center, you're intimately familiar with this. And really what it means is I may have some general parameters that I'm looking for. Think of one of my roles. Hey, we were looking for calls that were somewhere between 4 minutes and 7 minutes, and we might have want them to come in through a certain queue group. So, hey, we want our customer service. So they're the one people who pressed 1 for customer service, right? We want those groups of conversations, and we assume it's between this amount of time. And then part of what I would have to do is go in and I'd start listening, and it's like I get 30 seconds in, I can't evaluate this one. It doesn't meet our requirements. Or I'd, go all the way through and it was what it was, right? You score it and then you move on. The challenge with that, as you can imagine, is it's really time consuming. It's not strategic at all. And often what it's doing is it's looking for one of two things. It's either looking for some sort of compliance or process adherence. Hey, we're making sure that if Marty was the representative, we're making sure that Marty didn't say the wrong thing, or we're making sure that Marty appropriately described the terms and conditions, or that if he was supposed to offer an upsell, that he offered an upsell, right? It's these like checkbox things that if you're that agent on the phone, so often it feels like someone in a dark room somewhere is just, their whole job is to catch you doing something wrong.
Right.
That is the perception of that program for so many people, is it's just Big Brother, and it's the second common historical approach is not around compliance, but it's around, hey, are we doing things that would be predictive or reflective of providing whatever the service experience was supposed to look like? Did it provide a good experience? And that might be based off of things that, if Marty in this case is a customer, that Marty said, or the outcome that was derived, all of that kind of stuff. For a lot of businesses, Marty, those old ways of doing things just haven't been revisited. Maybe now, instead of random sampling, they're using voice or text or even screen analytics to curate a collection. We want to monitor the situations where someone escalates because they mention that their guitar neck is warped.
Right.
As an example, and we're trying to find out what's happening inside of those interactions. Or from a compliance standpoint, there's a push right now in the use of AI where we're saying, hey, a lot of those things that are a matter of pretty clear cut, yes, no, did or did not happen, being able to use AI. So it's not even a person having to listen to it, but it can go and say, yes, Marty followed this process, or yes, he said this or he didn't. This was brought up or it wasn't brought up.
AI can even read inflections, right? Like if I start talking louder because I'm getting angry or irritated, it can pick up on those things too, right?
It can. There are certainly use of different psychometric type of measures, right? It's less about just the skills that are, because you've got kind of three levers of evaluation from a quality standpoint. You've got the things that are binary, yes or no. You've got the things that are more nuanced, right? There's often varied levels of proficiency. If I'm evaluating, I'm maybe using a Likert scale, and it's showing that, hey, this is Marty at a 1 or a 3 or a 5. And as you mentioned, there's all of these kind of other things to understand your tone and sentiment that help to give me a more complete picture of what are you feeling, what are you experiencing over the course of that interaction.
Yeah.
Here's the broader, I think, more interesting part about state of quality assurance today. Right now, for most organizations, I would say it's still pretty broken. It doesn't matter how sophisticated they are with the tools they're using. Their agents, in a lot of cases, still aren't bought in. They don't see it as something that's designed for them. They see it as something that's against them.
Yeah.
But what's interesting for me as someone who spent time in training and quality and those other aspects of monitoring and developing performance in our employees is that actually can be one of the best tools for identifying growth, for identifying places where you can reinforce the skills that people are really good and can be even better at. But so often that's not our approach. It's around, hey, we've got to monitor this number of evaluations, or we've got to provide coaching on this number of interactions, or we've got to make sure that people hit this number.
Yeah.
And it's all around activity. That's what I'd say if I were to like describe the number one problem with quality assurance programs. It's around doing the thing, doing the activity of monitoring the evaluation, of talking to the agent, and it's not actually about sustainable performance improvement. That I think is my first soapbox moment that you've kind of provoked here with asking that question. Sorry. And maybe to the point of your original question, do organizations do something with it? Yes and no. They do a little bit with it, but not anything that's really helping them advance their cause.
Yeah.
Right? It's just saying, okay, here's Marty. Here's what he said. Hey, agent, next time you talk to somebody like Marty, do this, don't do this.
Yeah.
That's the problem with a lot of it today. What's crazier is if we think about what that is actually making available to our organizations from a data standpoint of having all of our customer interactions, not just recorded, but now being able to look at all of the things that are said or not said, how associations are made or not made. All of this data actually can power so much business intelligence outside of the employee performance conversation, which is where I think it's been set today. So I think there's actually really cool opportunity. I think we will see organizations increasingly evolve how quality assurance is positioned and how it's used inside of the organization. Mm-hmm. And I've got to believe, Marty, and I haven't heard any of the examples of this, but I've got to believe we're going to start seeing organizations where you call in and the message isn't this call may be monitored for quality assurance purposes, but it's more, hey, this call is being recorded and we're using the information shared to improve our service, our products, our all of this kind of stuff, because it really can power a lot of business intelligence. And maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just say, hey, it may be, and it's for quality assurance purposes. But I think if people would actually be more invested as customers in organizations that say, here's what we're doing, here's what we're capturing, and here's how we're using it to make life better for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I have a follow-up question, which would be, I guess we could consider it a bonus question, right?
Ooh.
So when I have great interactions, which I would say most of them are, almost 90 to 95% of the time it's like, hey, I'm going to send you a survey after this call, right? When I have bad interactions, I never get asked if I want to fill out a survey. So my question to you is that a lever that the agent can pull? Because it feels like, oh, this was a good call, let me send them out a thing because they're probably going to send me a nice response, versus this went poorly. I'm probably going to forget to include that.
Yeah.
And I know you're not the authority on everyone, but I didn't know if that was a random or is it selective?
I'll say two things here, Marty. The first is let's make a promise to everyone that next week's episode is going to be about surveying, because I think that's a really good topic for us to explore. And we could probably make a couple episodes about it, but let's start next week and talk about surveying in a little bit more depth.
Yep.
And I'd actually encourage people between now and next week to send in your questions, your thoughts, your perspectives on surveying. We'll be sure to post more about this as well, but really interested to hear what people have to think about it. That said, Marty, it depends on the organization. In some cases, it is absolutely within that representative's control on whether or not they offer the survey. That is by far not a best practice at all, for all of the reasons that you alluded to, and candidly even more. But yes, you are right that in some cases they are able to not offer you the survey, or that organization may intentionally choose for interactions that go poorly to just not capture the feedback, and that's definitely a conversation for next week as well.
Yeah. Okay, great. I've got some thoughts.
Yeah, this is good. Gosh, this is awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I know we're about to wrap things up, but here's what y'all can know. I am going back for cup 2 of the instant coffee. It's probably also because I don't have a lot of things with added sugar, so there's definitely an aspect of me where I feel like I'm treating myself a little bit.
Right.
That was grossly underestimated.
You're gonna be chewing this one. You have
I'm
a
doing a
spoon?
I'm doing a shot of the trader. This is gonna be super concentrated this go around. But maybe that's for the best. Maybe my day needed that,
There you
Marty.
go.
Maybe this is exactly what I needed. Um, yeah. So shout out to Trader Joe's instant coffee. I'm excited to share that one because that actually genuinely took me by surprise, and I'm here for it.
Good job, TJ.
Good job, TJ. Good question, Marty. Quality assurance is complicated. It is not easy. You've definitely inspired me to maybe even pull together some resources that we'll share with this as well. So happy to help point people in that direction. And if you just want to have a conversation about the way you're thinking and approaching quality assurance, that's the other thing. We're always here to have conversations, so you don't have to just lurk in the comment section. We would love to connect with you. But until next time, this has been CX and Coffee. I'm Justin Robbins, along with my good friend
Marty Shaughnessy.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like and share if you enjoyed this episode, and we will catch you next week for a whole new brew.